Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT The Game, Season 1, Episode 32. We are now live in Pennsylvania at the LaRae Center for NXT TakeOver in your house. We're going to get started with the pre-show, and let's get straight into the action. In a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Billie Kay defeats Ruby Riot in 13 minutes with the boyfriend stealer. 49 and 49 for Riot and Kay. Workers improvements, no workers improvements, but Ruby Riot loses to Billie Kay here in the opening bout here on NXT TakeOver in your house. In the second pre-show match, Blake and Murphy defeat TM61 in 13-14 when Murphy hits Nick Miller with the Murphy's Law. Blake and Murphy, along with Velvet Sky, get the victory here tonight at NXT TakeOver in your house. We got a 60 and 61 for TM61. Blake and Murphy with the 47-47. Phillips and Carino were great again. Velvet Sky was great. A definite lack of psychology. Well, that's unfortunate. Murphy is improving in his high-flying skills. Apparently, the Murphy's Law is an aerial maneuver. So this was the second and final match in our NXT pre-show. And to open up NXT TakeOver in your house card, Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Steve Carino welcome us to NXT. Tom Phillips says that tonight here on NXT, we're going to have one hell of a show. The trio run down the card for tonight's show, stressing the massive NXT Championship title defense when Drew McIntyre takes on Bobby Roode for the first time in a one-on-one contest, as well as the NXT Tag Team Championships, NXT Women's Championship, NXT Money in the Bank, and the NXT UK Championship all being on the line tonight. What a huge night tonight here on NXT. So the commentators obviously welcoming us here in NXT, running down the card, most of our matches. Let's see what's coming up first for you guys. In the opening match, though, a grudge match, if you will, about that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. Candice LaRae finally goes over on Bridges in 9:36 with the balls plex. Candice LaRae gets the victory over Crow's Nest member Bridges here on NXT. They have great chemistry. Well, that's really good. Again, commentary is great. The match got the crowd hotter, which is great. Candice LaRae with a 56, Sarah Bridges with a 52. Worker improvements, no improvements. But a nice little grudge match opening start here to NXT TakeOver in your house. Oh, Bridges almost injured her with a botched move. That's not good. William Regal now comes out to introduce and hype the crowd for the upcoming NXT UK Championship match between Tyler Bate as he defends against Trent 7. Let's see what happens here tonight, as that match is coming up right now. In a poor match, Tyler Bate defeats Trent 7 in 12:50 with the Tyler Driver 97. Tyler Bate makes defense number 1 of his NXT UK Championship title. So Tyler Bate with the victory here tonight on NXT TV. Tyler Bate defeating Trent 7, who won the Fatal 4-Way with Mark Haskins, Mark Andrews, and Pete Dunne on NXT not too long ago. So Tyler Bate successfully defends with a 49 and 57 rating, or 41 rating. No worker improvements. They went about 13 minutes at 12:50. Tyler Bate with the victory here. I wish this rating would have been a little bit higher, but both are still listed as lower card workers given their overness, so I'm guessing that had to do with a little bit of the match rating. All right, up next, we see Tyler Bate celebrate in the ring, so, a 60 rating above the actual match itself. In the next match, we see CROWE defeat Hideo Itami in 15-24 while using the ropes for leverage. Cheating or not, Solomon CROWE, the leader of Crow's Nets, gets a victory on Hideo Itami, who's now lost since Money in the Bank 2 straight pay-per-view matches. Solomon CROWE defeating Hideo Itami. Hideo Itami, unfortunately, so far, thus unable to win the big one. Hideo Itami's gimmick is getting stale. CROWE is getting better at his gimmick. A 68 for Itami, 57 CROWE, both solid ratings, no improvements. This was our second grudge match, so we will push forward here. After the match, CROWE celebrates post-victory. Commentary notes that Hideo Itami just can't win the big one, as I just said, as it relates to TakeOver Special. So Hideo really having trouble here winning the big one at NXT TakeOvers. Next, we see Bobby Roode getting ready for his NXT Championship match tonight. He'll have a shot to reclaim his NXT Championship tonight when he faces Drew McIntyre, who, if you recall, at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3, beat Hideo Itami in a triple threat match against Bobby Roode. So Roode has yet to get his one-on-one rematch, and he'll get that coming up later tonight. But the next match, it brought that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. One half of the iconic duo, that is the NXT Women's Champion Peyton Royce, wins again, defeats Ember Move in 12:39 by pinfall with the bitch kick. Peyton Royce makes defense number 5 of her NXT Women's Championship title. So Peyton Royce of the iconic duo with another victory. 52 and a 50 rating. Again, the color commentary is really, really improving here in NXT. You're getting Phillips, Carino, Nigel, Tom, Nigel. I mean, it really meshes well. As far as worker improvements go, we have nothing to show for it. But Peyton Royce defends her championship again, and being episode 32 here on NXT, she's really plugging along. She's getting close to the half-year mark with the championship. That's great. All right, next we recap the long road DIY has had getting back and getting their one-on-one match against the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering for the NXT Tag Team Championships. DIY will finally get their one-on-one rematch against the Authors of Pain coming up next. Worker improvements, we got nothing. Announcing was great again. Color timing was great. ACOM was good. That's really good, actually. Fan favorite storyline has advanced. Paul Ellering looked lost out there, but that's okay. Paul Ellering, you're the one supposed to be holding this all together. DIY and the Authors of Pain is coming up right now. In a decent match, the Authors of Pain defeat DIY in 1759 when ACOM defeated Johnny Gargano by pinfall following interference from Nick Jackson. During the match, we also had Matt Jackson run in and attack Tommaso Ciampa. The Authors of Pain make defense number 5 of their NXT Championship, like Candice, like Billie, Peyton Royce. They've been absolutely, killing it here on NXT. Razor and Ellering, great chemistry. Nick and Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks who have been signed to NXT for a while, finally debut here by costing DIY a victory against the Authors of Pain, much like the DIY was cost by Blake and Murphy, and then later by Crow's Nest. DIY everybody is jealous of the two of the 3 or 4 most over guys on our roster, and DIY yet again cannot get a fair shake in a championship match. Tommaso Ciampa with a 55, freaking the Authors of Pain with a 62 and 61. Their ratings, I don't always show it, but they have been improving. I'll keep going forward. Razor again improving. So the Authors of Pain they've been really improving. After the bell sounds, the referee is looking around to hand the championships back to the Authors of Pain, but Paul Ellering grabs the championship and hands them to his team himself. Their fans are chanting Bucks, 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 who just screwed DIY out of the NXT Tag Team Championships, causing utter mayhem. The Bucks' distractions have turned to verbal altercations now and verbal assaults on DIY, who cannot believe yet again what happened. They have yet again been screwed out of a fair championship rematch opportunity. As the Young Bucks leave, Paul Ellering seems a bit uneasy about how his Authors of Pain won. Not a face turn, but just likes his Authors to dominate. They were, however, the win was via distraction. As the Bucks dance and taunt up the stage, the Authors of Pain have retained the NXT Championships over DIY tonight, and the Young Bucks yet again have costed DIY a chance at those championships. Nick Jackson is getting better. The performance of Akon was good. That was great last time. It was Razor. Now it's Akon. All right. No improvements. Paul Ellering, you look lost out there again, buddy. We're going to have to work on that. So, again, Authors of Pain retain. The fans now boo as Drew McIntyre shows up on screen. Drew McIntyre backstage says, by himself, looking into a camera, holding up his championship. Drew says that he's worked far too hard and far too long to let the NXT Championship slip out of his hands at the first opportunity. So, if anyone out there has a betting man or woman, head to your bookie and bet on Drew McIntyre. McIntyre talks about going overseas, fighting to become better, faster, stronger, and more accomplished. McIntyre promises that tonight won't be a glorious night. No. Tonight will be built upon the shoulders of the hefty Drew McIntyre. At the end of the night, we start the reign of McIntyre. So McIntyre, with his hilarious Make It an Impact storyline title, declares himself to, basically that he's going to win tonight. And we'll just have to see, because Bobby Roode's going to get his first opportunity, and he's been booked super strong until then. McIntyre's been booked super strong since then. So we'll have to see what happens later tonight in that main event. Alrighty, coming up next in a decent match, Mr. NXT defeats No Way Jose, Roderick Strong, Ty Dillinger, Eric Young, and Kassius Ohno in a Money in the Bank match at 16:55 when Mr. NXT retrieves the item. Mr. NXT wins the NXT Money in the Bank Championship match. Now, I made myself a promise that when I started this series, much like I did in NXT The Game 13, whenever I run the Money in the Bank matches, I let the game decide who wins, and I book around it for extra fun. Kassius Ohno not suited. Phillips and Carino, another good match. Crowd's buzzing. Ohno, Jose, Strong, Dillinger, Young, all with decent between 62 and 56 ratings. Advanced segment, worker improvements. Eric Young is improving in technical and performance. Well, that's great, because he's the guy I've been pushing really strong when NXT has been using him as a role player. I've been using him kind of as a higher up heel. We're going to have to turn someone heel eventually, because we have a lot of guys on the face side right now. But Mr. NXT, actually a heel wrestler with a heel champion, so that may be cumbersome for me, gets the victory here at NXT TakeOver in your house in the NXT Money in the Bank match. All right, next. In a decent match, we have Andrade Cien Almas defeat the debuting Adam Cole in 21-15 with the Brilliante driver. As William Regal said, if Andrade Cien Almas was able to defeat Adam Cole, who he was dodging on NXT, he would be, in William Regal's eyes, the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. So virtually, this was a number one contendership match for Almas. Well, this was just a big high-profile, not contendership match for Adam Cole. Either way, Andrade Cien Almas gets the victory over the debuting Adam Cole, baby, here tonight at NXT TakeOver in your house. And Andrade Cien Almas appears primed to get a title shot at the winner of the Bobby Roode face or Drew McIntyre heel match coming up next. A 60 and a 59, a party animal baby storyline is advanced. Adam Cole is improving in his Rumble skills. The match got the crowd buzzing. That's fantastic. We have 2 straight crowd buzzing matches heading into the main event. I'm anxious to see if we can get this next match up to around a 75, 76. That would be fantastic. Next, Kathy Kelly can be heard calling down the backstage in the backstage area, Bucks, as she gets the attention of the newest members of the NXT roster, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. Kathy Kelly quickly asks the Bucks why. Why did they attack DIY? And Matt says it's simple. He says for the past 5 years, the Bucks have been known as the fan favorites, the inside guys. Well, with the Bucks have been busting their asses on the independent scene and re-signing with NXT Nick adds, they kept asking, do you guys think you could beat DIY? And we have always had the same response. Who is DIY? The fans can be heard booing. The Young Bucks are seen walking away laughing, having spoiled DIY's tag team championship rematch that they finally earned. So the Young Bucks, out of nowhere, absolutely screw DIY like Blake and Murphy and like Crow's Nest. So far, they've gotten through Blake and Murphy. They've gotten through Crow's Nest. The Challengers has gotten extremely more challenging for DIY to continue to push towards the tag team championships. And we should have some really fantastic matches heading into the second half of the season with DIY and the Young Bucks, as the storyline, the fans' favorite, has been started upon. No worker improvements here. The Making an Impact has advanced. We get a video hyping McIntyre against Bobby Roode. We then get a glorious entrance with Bobby Roode. No skill improvements. It'll be Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre in our main event for the NXT Championship right now. And in the main event, in a good match, Drew McIntyre defeats Bobby Roode in 23-24 by pinfall with the scat drop. Drew McIntyre makes defense number 1 of his NXT Championship. So Roode and McIntyre had good chemistry. It lifted the match. Bobby Roode had an in-ring performance of 69. McIntyre with a 63. As noted earlier, Andrade Cien Almas basically became the number 1 contender during the show. We also had Mr. NXT earn himself a chance. Bobby Roode obviously is a longtime champion, has a claim, even though he lost his rematch, to being in the conversation for another championship opportunity. So with 3 guys really eyeing Drew McIntyre's championship, it should be a lot of fun heading into the second half of the year here with NXT. No work or improvements. This should be a pretty decent rating here at NXT TakeOver in your house. Let's go ahead and see what that is. 72, we increased our popularity in 11 regions. I am very, very happy with that. We're going to give Drew McIntyre, giving some encouragement. Matt and Nick Jackson, because you're new, we're going to go ahead and give you a good performance rating. This was NXT The Game, Season 1. Episode 32, we got a 72 rating. We will be back in a couple days with episode 33. Back at NXT Television, we have the championship championship to sort out. We have the Bucks debuting. We have Authors of Pain, who will be their next challengers. We had Blake and Murphy beating TM61 in the pre-show. Are they going to be up next? Peyton and Royce continuing to push forward and become more victorious as one would have ever anticipated as it relates to her NXT Women's Championship. And we have a lot of stuff to really go from here. But this was NXT The Game Season 1, Episode 32, NXT TakeOver in your house from the Licorice Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a glorious evening.